The session is now called to order. Everybody is requested to rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bakaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walang pagsikta, ay langit sa dilim mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mamapit, magmamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for a minute of silent prayer and meditation. Thank you. The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members. Yes.
Any objection? Hearing none. The Secretary General is hereby directed to call the roll of the members.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives, Abaya, Abayon, Abillanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agrao, Agabao, Aglipay Bilyar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Bilaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bundok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Marabida, Brosas, Bulot Pectang, Gagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fredenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cerilles, Chavez, Chupeco, Co, Coanco, Juliantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cusalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Los Montalia, de Maporo Abdullah, de Maporo Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Ilago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Verdone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Gary Richard, Gary Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Heron, Goana Cristina, Gomart, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Gurseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Alasos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Limkay Chong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudato Suarto, Mangudato Sanjid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maliñaon, Guaminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramiresato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Rovapuno, Robes, Rocomora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirley, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tino, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Beretta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Vilarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villaperte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Artur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Mar Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 201 members responded to the call.
With 201 members responded to the call, the chair declares a quorum. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve Journal number 42 dated November 29, 2017. I so move.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The journal dated November 29, 2017, journal number 42 is hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, at this point, I would like to recognize the guest of the Honorable Kaka Bagao of the Lone District of Dinagat Islands. All her guests from the organization of the Network to Stop AIDS Philippines, Dangal Philippines, and Lagablab. They are the following: Action for Health Initiatives, the Library Foundation Share, HIV AIDS Awareness Campaign Group, Association of Positive Women Living with AIDS, HIV/AIDS Incorporated, Novax Transition Philippines, Peer Educators Movement for Empowerment of Pasay, Manila, Caloocan, Quezon City, HIV/AIDS Support House, Health Action Initiatives Network, Sustained Health Initiatives of the Philippines, the Red Whistle, B-Chains, Kapisanan ng mga kamag-anak ng manggagawang migranting Pilipino, Philippine NGO Council on Population, Health and Welfare Incorporated, Juan Positive Movement, gayon, Philippine Sex Workers Collective, Candon Youth Movement, Mindanao AIDS Associates Association Incorporated, Alagad Mindanao, Tagum Advocates on HIV/AIDS Incorporated, United Western Visayas Incorporated, Northern Mindanao AIDS Advocates, Crossbreeds, Shine Socsargen, Helping Advance the Vulnerable Through Empowerment Network, Cebu Plus Association, and Viva Vivo Zamboanga.
Guests of Representative Kakabagaw, please rise. May I request the guests of Representative Kakabagaw to please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader. Before I recognize the Majority Leader, I would like to congratulate the Secretariat. We have now a new clock here in plenary. Congratulations. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I would like further to greet the guest of the Honorable Francisco Gamboa Datol Jr., representative of the Senior Citizen Party List. They are the Federation of Senior Citizen Association of the Philippines from San Narciso, Zambales. They are Luz Falsario, Filipina Macabale, Nelly Fernandez, Dante Pamisan, Mirna Bueno, Lilia Pobre Victorio Ladiero, Robert Farne, Elizabeth Fuento, Zacarias Dacayo, Rodolfo Fababier, Jesus Pamisan, Dominador Apostol, Victorio Ladierio, Roger Sabio, Robert Farne, and Angelita Pampo.
Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of the bills and resolutions on first reading as well as communications and committee reports.
Any
so move,
objection?
Mr. Speaker.
The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is directed to read the bills and resolutions on first reading for referral to the appropriate committees.
Reference of business. Bills on first reading. House Bill 6726, enabling the authority of the Liga ng mga Barangay to establish educational institutions. Representative Pimentel.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 6727, declaring the province of Nueva Vizcaya mining-free zone. Representative Cuaresma.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Bill 6728, creating a joint congressional oversight committee on mining. Representative Cuaresma.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Bill 6729, pursuing the AFP modernization program. Representative Biason.
To the Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill 6730, mandating at least one school in all provinces. Representative Garcia.
To the
Jose.
Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 731, providing free education for the children of uniformed personnel. Representative C. Alvarado.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 732, creating the Hinunangan Bay Development Authority, Representative Mercado.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
Resolutions, House Solution 1487, calling for an investigation on the exclusion of all uniformed personnel under the PNP from salary standardization law, Representative Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Solution 1488, urging the DNR to declare that Tinig, Binongan, and Palsuguguan rivers and its adjacent forest covers as protected areas, Representative Bernos.
To the Committee on Natural Resources.
House Solution 1489, direct the appropriate committee to investigate lending companies and individuals imposing excessive interest rates, Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
Messages from the Senate. Message dated November 27, informing the House the Senate even date designated Senators Lacson, Honasan, Binay, and Pangilinan as conferees of the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 1239 and House Bill 4863.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated November 27, informing the House the Senate even date passed Senate Bill 1439.
To the Committee on Energy.
Message dated November 27, informing the House the Senate even date passed Senate Bill 1533.
To the Committee on Rules.
Communications letter dated November 2 of the Senaida Titan, Assistant Regional Director, DPWH.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated November 3 of Stephanie Ann Y. Erigel, Municipal Mayor, Province of La Union.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated November 8 of Sukarno D. Tanggol, Chancellor, MSU IIT.
Maghanap na lang. To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
Letter dated November 9 of Rolando T. Bangalando, State Auditor, COA.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated November 23 of Salvador C. Medialdea, Executive Secretary.
To the Archives.
Committee reports, report numbers 496 and 498 on House Bill numbers 6740 and 6742.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report number 497, House Bill number 6741.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report number 499, House Bill number 6743.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to add that I would like to mention also the other representative of Senior Citizen Party List, Honorable Milagros Aquino Magsaysay, as also one of the hosts of the guest I mentioned a while ago.
Noted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now I move for the consideration on third reading House Bill number 6617, and for this purpose may I request the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of House Bill 6617 for consideration on third reading.
House Bill number 6617, an act strengthening the Philippine Comprehensive Policy on Human Immunodeficiency Virus and Acquiring Immune Deficiency Syndrome, and Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome Prevention, Treatment, Care, and Support, and establishing the Philippine National HIV and AIDS Plan and appropriating funds therefore, repealing for the purpose Public Act number 8504, otherwise known as the Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998. Roll call of members. Consideration House Bill number 6617. Abaya, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes to the Philippine HIV and AIDS Policy Act, and I reserve my right to explain my vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Merabida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Casa France, Casa Predenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Ceravica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Coanco, Colillantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Usalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Los Montalia, Dimoporo Abdullah, Dimoporo Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, El Lago, Enverga, Erice, Eriguel, Ermita Buhayin, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Ventebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Heron, Guana Cristina, Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goroseta, Gullas, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Limcaychong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Makapangal-Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangdudato Suarto, Mangdudato Sanjid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maleñaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Pibisya Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Rawapuno, Robes, Rocomora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Savillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Beretta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Vilago, Yap Artur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Marcarmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri.
With an affirmative vote of 188, negative 0, abstention 0, House Bill number 6617 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to recognize the Honorable Kaka Bagao for her manifestation on her yes vote. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Bacau is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mga kasama, napakahalaga ng araw na ito dahil nagdesisyon ang Kamara na tuluyan ng ipasa ang Philippine HIV and AIDS Policy Bill. Pero kailangan lang bigyang diin na hindi natin tinatalakay ang panukalang ito ngayon dahil lamang sa World AIDS Day na naganap noong nakaraang linggo, kundi dahil linggo-linggong tumataas ang bilang ng mga kaso ng HIV sa bansa. Dahil araw-araw na nakakaranas ng diskriminasyon at panghihina ng loob ang mga persons living with HIV o mga PLHIVs. At dahil sa bawat araw na dumadaan na hindi tayo nagtatakda ng mas epektibong mga tugon sa isyong ito, araw-araw din nating hinahayaan na mas lumaki ng lumaki ang suliraning kinakaharap natin. Nung una ko pong inihain ang panukalang ito ng 15th Congress, naging masigasig po ang civil society organization sa pagsama sa ating laban. At sa panahong ito ay nais kong pasalamatan ang mga grupong naging katuwang natin mula noon pa, ang Network to Stop AIDS Philippines, Achieve, TLF Share, No Box, Transitions, Women Living with HIV, PLCPD, at marami pang iba. Gusto ko rin pong bigyan ng pagpupugay si Senator Risa Ontiveros na matagal nang tagapagtaguyod ng karapatan at kapakanan ng mga PLHIVs, lalo na't malaking bahagi ng kanyang legislative agenda ang kalusugan. Ngayon po ay author din siya ng panukalang ito sa Senado. Sa kanya rin po ako humuhugot ng inspirasyon para isulong ang isyong ito. Nagpapasalamat din po ako sa mga kasalukuyan at dating pinuno ng House Committee on Health, sina Representative Helen Tan, dating Representative Franny Erigel, at dating Representative Arthur Pingoy. Salamat din sa Committee Secretariat sa pamumuno ni Lourdes Sanchez. Salamat din po kay Congressman Rimpi Bondok sa pagsiguro na pagbobotohan natin ang batas sa araw na ito on third reading. Dahil po sa sigla ng komite nang isulong ang panukalang ito, mabilis natin itong naipasa at sana ay ngayon na ang huling beses na kakailanganin nating talakayin ang batas na ito dahil magiging batas na ito ngayong 17th Congress. Panahon na para palitan ang kasalukuyang batas at sa pamamagitan ng Philippine HIV and AIDS Policy Act, may dagdag na representasyon ang PLHIVs sa Philippine National AIDS Council o PNAC. Nabibigyan din ng mas malawak na kapangyarihan at tungkulin ang PNAC upang tunay na magampanan nito ang kanyang mandato. Sa House Bill No. 6617 na sana ay maging Republic Act na, mas may pinagtibay at pinalakas na mga probisyon na may kinalaman sa confidentiality at right to privacy ng mga persons living with HIV. At higit sa lahat, magkakaroon tayo ng isang batas na may kinalaman sa HIV at AIDS na may pagpapahalaga sa karapatang pantao. Nakakatawa at nakakabahala na isang beses lang binabanggit ang salitang human rights sa lumang batas. Sa ating panukala na inaaprubahan natin sa araw na ito, di hamak na mas marami at mas makabuluhan ang pagbanggit sa karapatang pantao bilang haligi ng ating polisiya. Sa dulo ng lahat, ang anumang batas na nagsusulong ng pagpapalawak at ng kaalaman at pagkakapantay-pantay ay isang batas na nagsusulong ng pagmamahal sa kapwa-tao. Sa mga persons living with HIV na nakilala ko sa mga committee hearings at forum at sa mga pribadong kwentuhan, sa mga nakikita ko sa social media na hindi mailagay ang tunay nilang mukha at pangalan dahil sa takot sa stigma at diskriminasyon, para sa inyo ang batas na ito. Naway maramdaman ninyo na may boses kayo sa loob ng Kongreso. At sabi nga ng ating hashtag sa Twitter na naging #1 trending topic sa buong bansa kanina pang umaga hanggang ngayon, ang hashtag HIV Policy Now, I vote yes to House Bill No. 6617. Salamat po, Mr. Speaker, mga kasama.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration and third reading of House Bill number 2830. And for this purpose, may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bill and to call the roll for third reading.
House Bill number 2830, an act creating 15 additional branches of the regional trial courts in the whole province of Batangas for the purpose of amending Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980 as amended, and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members, consideration House Bill number 2830. Abaya, Abayon, Abilianosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Bilaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilia, Bundok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maravida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Gagas, Calderon, Calixorbiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Casa Franz, Casa Fedenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serapica, Cerilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Co, Cubanco, Collantes, Cortés, Fortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Los Montalia, Dimaporo, Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duwabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Pentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchelian, Heron, Gona Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aledong, Gonzales Fernando, Goreseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hopper, Halosos, Javier, Co, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Limkaychong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Mapaglaroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangododato Suarto, Mangododato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Malañaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Robapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansig Estrelita, Swansig Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Bareta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Mar Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri.
With an affirmative vote of 191, negative 0, abstention 0, House Bill number 2830 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that for the consideration on third reading House Bill number 6690, and for this purpose may I request that the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill and call the roll for third reading.
House Bill number 6690, an act declaring May 3 of every year special non-working holiday in the municipality of Santa Cruz, province of Marinduque, in commemoration of its founding anniversary, to be known as Santa Cruz Day. Roll call of members, consideration House Bill number 6690. Abad, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Costa Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Auchensa, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bundok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Marevida, Brosas, Bulpectang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixturbiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Casa Franz, Casa Fedenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cerilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Coanco, Collantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, De Rosario, De Los Montalia, De Moporo Dula, De Moporo Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Eriguel, Ermita Buain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Florendo, Flores, Fortuno, Pentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Heron, Guana Cristina, Gomark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Conjun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Limgaychong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Magpagalarroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangododato Suarto, Mangododato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Malañaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramiresato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Robapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Máximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roquehari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansig Celita, Swansig Urasio, Suarez, Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shady, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tino, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Bereta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villaperte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Marcarmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri.
With 192 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 6690 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, today being a Monday and pursuant to our rules, I move that we open the privilege hour.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the gentleman from Buhay Party List, our Senior Deputy Minority Leader Jose Lito Atienza Jr. be recognized for his to avail of the privilege hour.
The Senior Deputy Minority Leader from Buhay Party List, Representative Jose Atienza Jr., is recognized to avail his privilege hour.
Salamat po, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Majority Floor Leader, for the opportunity to deliver a message this afternoon to all our members. I would have delivered this on Monday, last Monday, November 27, but was not given the chance and the opportunity to do so. It would have been more timely to deliver this message on November 27, because that is the exact date of the birthday of Ninoy Aquino. Everyone is aware of who Ninoy Aquino was. But we should refresh our memories time and again, because we are still very active in the political world and the political stage of the nation. We are all playing roles in our capacity as representatives of the people. And when we look back and remember Ninoy, we're actually strengthening our resolve to be more steadfast, more courageous, and more correct in our directions in crafting. At the age of 22, he was mayor of Concepcion, Tarlac. But before that, as a scholar, an academic, a young man, to pursue his professionalism and his patriotic sense to maintain and promote peace, he covered the Korean War as a young man. He was a very young man, and yet he joined the front lines of the Korean War to represent the Filipino people in that international issue and conflagration. Doon pa lang po nagpakita na po ng tapang itong taong ito na isinuong ang kanyang buhay upang magkaroon ng pagpapahayag na nagmumula doon sa digmaan nangyayari kung saan meron tayong Philippine contingent, mga sundalong Pilipino na lumalahok doon sa giyera doon. That was very, very exemplary, outstanding, and admirable. This young man continued to become the youngest mayor, elected the youngest vice governor at the age of 27 in 1959, and again became the youngest vice governor and governor of Tarlac. In 1961, he was elected senator of the country at the age of 34. And as a senator, no one can dispute the fact that Ninoy Aquino was the star luminary who was always on the side of human rights and protection of our constitutional rights in the Senate. Naalala ko po, ako isang batang mag-aaral, ako'y pumupunta sa Senado upang makinig lamang sa mga salita at aral at talumpati ng dakilang lalaking ito. Doon ko po nakita firsthand the qualities of Ninoy Aquino. Very, very frontal and very frank in his assessment of what he thinks is good for the country. And fate had it that Ninoy Aquino would be arrested after the Plaza Miranda bombing. Again, that particular incident has a special meaning for me because I was there on stage when it happened. Mahigit 10 namatay, mahigit 100 ang napinsala doon sa pagbobombang yon ng rally ng Liberal Party sa Plaza Miranda. Ninoy Aquino, after the declaration of martial law in 1972, was one of the first arrested by the military. And that started his ordeal, personal, his family, and the nation as a whole. Because we who appreciated what he was doing were all following his days and months and years that he spent in solitary confinement. Hindi po nasira ang pag-iisip nitong taong ito. Hindi po rin humina ang kanyang resolusyon na ipatuloy niya ang pagtatanggol sa malayang pamamaraan ng pamumuhay. Sinapit po niya ang maraming problema sa loob ng kulungan. Subalit hindi po nila napasuko ang diwa ni Ninoy Aquino. So Ninoy maintained his character as a real champion of Philippine democracy. Siya po ay nasentensyahan ng Military Commission No. 2 under then Major General Sihuko, who sentenced him to death, where he was not defended at all by any lawyer. Ang sabi nga niya nung siya'y sinisentensyahan, hindi tumitinag ang tinig at ang kanyang pag-iisip at diwa. Sabi niya, tinatanggap ko ang inyong pasya na kitlin ang buhay ni Ninoy. Ngayon, kayo ang humuhusga sa akin. Darating ang araw, kayo ang huhusgahan ng taong bayan. Those words were prophetic because after that, many events transpired that catapulted the nation to another bigger and bigger challenges in our quest for liberation. Then tragedy befell him when he suffered 2 heart attacks under detention. Meron po naman nagmagandang loob na siya ay pinadala sa Amerika upang operahan. Kasama natin siya ngayon dito. Hindi ko lang malaman kung siya physically present, but then First Lady Imelda Marcos was the one who arranged for his passage and for his operation in Texas. Well, the operation was successful. He was able to bring his family. Akala namin si Ninoy ay mananahimik na sapagkat siya ay nailigtas sa kamatayan at meron na siyang magandang kalusugan habang siya ay nagtuturo sa Amerika, Boston, Massachusetts. But beloved brethren, Ninoy Aquino was a different man because he did not stop at that. When the opportunity came home for him to come home, being the leader of the Liberal Party, he felt he had to be in the Philippines at that particular time. No amount of persuasion could convince him not to come home. Even under the threat of death, sure, 100% death, he did not shirk from the challenge of leading the nation and those of us seeking liberation. Umuwi po siya at yun ang naging pagkakataon upang isang bala kumitil sa kanyang buhay nung siya ay bumababa sa aeroplano sapagkat siya ay pinatay ng walang awa. To me, he was not assassinated. He was murdered. That is the right way to put it. To put a stop to our quest for liberty and liberation from martial rule. That spark did not prevent the Filipinos all over the country hearing the sound of gunshot. One bullet, one gunshot wound, one gunshot shot reverberated all over the corners of the Philippine Islands and reawakened our people that indeed we must now wake up and resist the military rule prevailing at that time. Nobody gave Ninoy Aquino a chance. Sabi nila, patay na yan, makakalimutan na yan. But we did not. The elections of 1984 proved that. When Ninoy Aquino led, or rather, when the party of Ninoy Aquino, which he founded in 1978, the Lakas ng Bayan or Laban, participated together with the Partido Demokratiko ng Pilipino, the PDP Laban. So therefore, the PDP Laban, as we now see it, the supermajority party of the nation emanated from Ninoy Aquino. Kung hindi po lumaban si Ninoy, wala pong PDP Laban ngayon. Yun ang bunga ng kanyang buhay na ibinuwis. Na tayo ay nagkaroon ng kalayaan muli because from 1984, the opposition already started winning, and in 1986, we liberated the country in EDSA 1. Kung tayo man ngayon ay malayang nakapagtatalumpati, malayang nakikipagtalakayan, malayang nakikipag-disagree sa pamunuan, pasalamat tayo sa taong ito. Kung merong mga pagkukulang ang mga sumunod na mga pangyayari, yung naging Pangulo na kanyang may bahay, yung naging Pangulo na kanyang anak, hindi po si Ninoy Aquino yun. Si Ninoy Aquino ay isang bayani na kailangan natin patuloy dakilan din. Hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan ito sapagkat kung kakalimutan natin ito, we might as well forget that tayo ay Pilipino, na tayo ay meron sarili nating direksyon sa ating buhay sa pagkalikha ng Panginoon ng sanlibutan. Ninoy Aquino, in this chamber, I'm sure, touched the lives of many. Right in front of me, this gentleman in front of me, who is, I think, about 90 years old, has not forgotten. Because he knew Ninoy Aquino personally. Swerte nga siya sapagkat siya nakadaupang palad niya, nakasama niya sa kasiyahan, kalungkutan. Ang inyong lingkod, ako po naman, ay nakiisa lang. One of those great masses of our people who stood up upon hearing the shots at the tarmac. We told ourselves, we will not stop until democracy is restored in the country. Ngayong meron tayong demokrasya, hindi pwedeng kalimutan si Ninoy Aquino dahil lamang meron tayong hinanakit ang mga pangyayaring pagkatapos ng kanyang buhay. Hindi natin pwedeng itakwil si Ninoy Aquino. The worst part of it, kayong nabibilang sa supermajority PDP laban, hindi niyo pwede sabihin, hindi namin kilala yan. Para niyong sinabing hindi natin kilala si Dr. Jose Rizal na nagbigay sa atin ng kalayaan bilang isang bansa. Para ni sinabi natin, hindi natin kilala si Andres Bonifacio na namuno sa revolusyon upang tayo ay mapalaya. Otherwise, we will all be impostors in the drama of Philippine democracy and our search for political freedom if we deny Ninoy Aquino in his proper place in our history. If I could only declare Ninoy Aquino a genuine martyr and a hero of the Philippines, I would do so. But in my heart, in my soul, I will never forget this man because he had the courage. As a flicker of light gives inspiration in the dark of the night, andun siya. At siya'y hindi bumigay sa takot at pag-aalinlangan. So I urge every one of us who are still active in the Philippine political drama, gamitin natin itong pangalan ni Ninoy at hindi ng sino pa man. Kung pag-uusapan natin ng PDP laban, wala ito, wala si Ninoy. Kung pag-uusapan natin ang ating demokrasya, wala ang ating demokrasya kung hindi dahil kay Ninoy. Ninoy served as the inspiration of millions of Filipinos who told themselves, tama na, sobra na, kami lalaban na. Yun ang dapat nating sa puso ngayon. Sobra na itong paghihirap natin, tama na itong pag-aabuso. Andyan, naranasan na naman natin ang abuso ng gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng dengue vaccine. Andyan na naman ang pagkakamali na nakaumang sa atin. I-legalize natin ang marijuana. Andyan ang lahat ng paghamon sa ating mga papeles. Gumising tayo sa katotohanan. Ang gusto natin ay isang bansang malaya, masaya, maligaya sa ating pagiging Pilipino at hindi banyaga. Maraming salamat po at sana ay nakapagbigay ako sa inyo ng konting kaliwanagan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat po, Kinatawan Atienza. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Senior Deputy Minority Leader Jose Lito Atienza to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Any objection? Here's none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the gentleman from the 2nd District of Sulu, the Honorable Representative Munir M. Arbison, be recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
Representative from the 2nd District of Sulu, Honorable Munir Arbison is recognized to avail his privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my dear equally esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen of this august body, good evening. May peace be with us all. I take the floor on a matter of personal and collective privilege, and on a particular matter concerning not only this representation, but the entire Filipino populace as well. It has been nearly 4 months since I was forced into a situation that none of us should find him or her in. None of us or anybody here should find himself and his supporters being compelled to defend his liberty and person from false and malicious accusations that are accepted as forceful and authoritative by the prosecutor and the judge as judicial doctrine, where the prosecutor and the judge have conspired, colluded, and accepted a bribe from an interested party in order to silence his perceived or imagined enemies. Unfortunately, this is our situation now. When an ambitious leader, ruling like a dictator, took the reins of power in the province of Sulu and under the illusion of becoming the ultimate uniting Sultan of Sulu, seamlessly declared himself Sabandar. Not only ordinary and poor person bow before him, but even our prosecution and judicial officials in our province did. Early of December, Mr. Speaker, last year, my brother, mayor of our hometown, together with 5 police officers, were ordered to be arrested because my brother was allegedly present with the police officers, legally shot and armed civilians who was demanding for the return of previously seized illegal item in committing direct assault. In February this year, Mr. Speaker, 2 more leaders opposed to his views were ordered arrested without them being afforded their full rights to preliminary investigation. One of them was here in Congress as certified by his house security on the date the crime charge was committed in Holo. The other, his stance critic and human rights defender, was charged with the kidnapping of a German reporter after the latter, together with his editor, revealed that he first met his kidnapper at his residence and ransom was admitted paid and received by Tan at his residence upon his demands and direction. Lately, Colonel Rosario of the Philippine Marines was charged together with Vice Mayor of Umar simply because his troops engaged in a shootout with an ESJ sub-leader and arrested some members of a private armed group belonging to a local government official. Mr. Speaker, his grip over the province have encroached the national agencies, within including our very basic institution of justice. His control over the prosecution service has degraded the public prosecutor into his mere rubber stamp. His influence over the courts has reduced the judiciary into his kangaroo court. His grips over the police have made his private armed group redundant. The unbated kidnapping in Sulu and the observed rise hereof during his and his son administration made people think that he too controls the ESG. I am not here to air my complaint against him. As a matter of fact, the Ombudsman had already required him to answer the charge that he was responsible for the kidnapping of a German newspaper writer. I'm here to seek the help of this chamber in requesting its so equal body, the Judiciary and the Department of Justice, to separately conduct an investigation of its official, judges, or personnel in the province of Sulu. I'm seeking your help, Mr. Speaker, to ask the Department of Justice to expedite the investigation of the Sulu Provincial Prosecutor on the already numerous complaint brought to its attention. Aside from complaint of unprofessionalism, bias, graft, and corruption, there are basic questions like, Is it proper for the prosecutor to subscribe the affidavit complaint of persons without ascertaining their true identity? Can the prosecutor solely rely on the self-serving statement of the police on the return of the subpoena that the accused no longer be located, thereby justifying the resolution of the complaint against the respondent? As regards to the judiciary, Mr. Speaker, why can a judge who is not reporting to his station collect his salary? And can such judge issue an order from anywhere in the country? Can the court grant bail in drug-related cases without hearing? And can the court forfeit for its benefit the bail bond posted by said accused? This and other questions even prompted the request from the military for the creation of a special court of Sulu. In my case, Mr. Speaker, 2 of my alleged accusers have long been dead and 3 others have long been working as undocumented aliens in Malaysia. But they were accordingly represented by another person when their supposed affidavit complaint was subscribed before the prosecutor. As I said earlier, this is not about myself, but in dark contrast to the over-jealousness of the provincial government and the provincial prosecutor, together with the courts, to prosecute or persecute the political opponent and stance critic of the Sabandar. Sir lackluster effort to prosecute lawless bandits, guiltless terrorists, kidnappers, and drug pushers, while the political opponents of these are silenced, the kidnapping activities and smuggling continue unabated. Despite the resolution of the NAPOLCOM, Mr. Speaker, removing the deputation of the local police from our provincial government, it is a common knowledge scenario in our province that local police forces are still under the control and supervision of the local chief executive, to the extent that they form part of their entourage and their everyday travel around the province. Thus, I call on the DILG to continue its investigation as it has already been prima facie determined by the NAPOLCOM in its resolution suspending their control and supervision over the PNP. And I seek your collegial support for the DOJ to continue and act with dispatch on investigation of its official in Sulu and be very eager in ensuring the immediate return of the rule of law in the province. I also hope that the Supreme Court and the court administrator who was in Holo just recently will also discipline the responsible judge and other court personnel. Finally, I strongly beseech your help and prayer in putting back in place our criminal justice system in Sulu as well as the rule of law. We may be an island among the more than 7,000 others, but it is in our place where basic principle of the rule of law and an effective justice system is most needed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you, Representative Arbison. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Representative Munir Arbison of the 2nd District of Sulu to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the gentleman from the 2nd District of Caloocan City, Representative Edgar R. Erice, be recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
Representative Edgar Erice from the 2nd District of Caloocan City is recognized to avail his privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. My dear colleagues, good afternoon. I rise on the matter of personal privilege to answer allegations about an article and an opinion piece that came out 2 weeks ago. In an era where fake news is insulting the intelligence of my fellow Filipinos, I would rather stand up and clear the air than be part of this scornful trend. Last November 20, 2017, Philippine Star columnist Jarius Bondok rehashed an opinion article attacking SR Metals a mining company in Agusan del Norte, apparently making it a habit to revive stale issues that were already answered and resolved. I was the president of SR Metals then, and presently a director of the company. Point by point, Mr. Bondoc seemed to find no new angles. Here are his repeated attempts to taint a company, trying so hard to connect a business to politics, but never succeeded in it. In February of 2016, he dropped 3 consecutive columns dated February 12, 15, and 17, singling out the Gutierrez Group aviation engagement, linking it to a political campaign, then focus his tirades to mining, which is an easier target of criticisms. Out of the 3 columns, not a single line was allotted to the company for its comment. Among his deliberate attacks tackled small-scale mining operations of the Gutierrez Group, which was a non-issue because it was covered by all the necessary permits and environmental compliance certificates. All our ore shipments are covered by mineral ore transport permits issued by the DNR and MGB. All taxes, whether with the national or local government, were dutifully paid. In fact, we have paid more than what is required by law during those times. The issue was totally put to end in 2007 when SR Metals stopped its operation when it was ordered to, paid the penalty as provided by law, rose, moved forward, and got the approvals and permits for a large-scale mining operations. In his articles, he also questioned the ISO certification of SR Metals and said it was awarded to the company because of its friendship with Malacanang and to then-President Aquino and Secretary Mar Rojas. For general information, an ISO, International Organization for Standardization, is audited and issued by a private entity and has no relation and cannot be influenced by any government agency. In fact, ISO certification is subject to annual review, and if you fail, you will lose it. More so, SR Metals is the first ever nickel mining company to subscribe to international standards even before the DENR required it to all mining companies. For these types of companies, there is no need for a Jarius Bondoc to issue a wake-up call, as morality kicks in when someone is not looking, and being responsible need not be imposed. Sadly, Mr. Bondoc, a veteran columnist, continues to be the blind-sided man he is. The next day, after the gotcha column on November 21, 2017, there were an apparent media operations about a falsification case, tagging me. Previous and incumbent officials of the same company in a news article published in the same newspaper, Philippine Star, written by Edu Punay, entitled Lawmaker LP Financier Pays Raps. Same news was in the Philippine Daily Inquirer. The article pertains to baseless testimonies from a certain Rodney Basiana. Again, there was no effort to get the side of the story, neither from me nor from the mining company. According to the article, Mr. Basiana asserted that he has rights over the mining claims, presenting 2-decade-old documents, which were, number 1, already dismissed by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and panel of arbitrators in February 2, 2008. That was the time of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. In fact, we got our MPSA not during the time of President Aquino, but during the time of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, and was signed by our distinguished colleague, the then Secretary Lito Atienza of the DNR. And the two records of deed of assignments have already proved that SR Metals, a holder of a mineral production sharing agreement permit, is the rightful successor to the said area. Let the record show that on July 31, 1997, Basiana Mining Exploration Corporation filed an application for mineral production sharing agreement for the mining claims in Tubay, Agusan del Norte. On April 29, 2000, Basiana assigned the mining application to Manila Mining Corporation. And on October 17, 2005, Manila Mining Corporation assigned the same application to SR Metals Incorporated. The latest deed of assignment was registered to the DNR MGB Region 13 on October 24, 2005. As required by law, SRMI resubmitted the application under its name before MGB Region 13. This was done on July 7, 2006. After careful evaluation of the application, MGB 13 favorably endorsed our company's mining application to the Central Office by a memorandum dated September 20, 2006, wherein the DNR MGB clearly recognized that SRMI is the rightful successor of the mining tenement. In short, Mr. Basiana, just like Jarius Bondoc, ended up beating a dead horse. Dragging my name into these issues, I personally chose to remain quiet for a while because the truth will always prevail in the end. But there will always be a time to say, enough is enough. Mr. Speaker, I have inhibited myself from being a member of the Committee on Natural Resources. In fact, when I became a congressman in 2013, I wrote then Speaker Sonny Belmonte disclosing my affiliation with the mining industry and asked to spare me from any committee functions that would relate to natural resources. The timing of these articles and spurious allegation coincided with the announcement that SR Metals once again made it as the best surface mining company in the country today. Bestowed with the Presidential Mineral Industry and Environmental Awards, PIMEA, awarded by DNR Secretary Roy Simatu and Chamber of Mines of the Philippines, Mr. Gerard Brimo, and signed by President Rodrigo Duterte himself. What constitutes a PIMEA or a presidential award? According to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the presidential award recognizes outstanding levels of dedication, initiative, and innovation in the pursuit of excellence in environmental management, by exploration, mining, and other related entities involved in various aspects of mineral utilization. The scope of the environmental management includes, among others, programs, projects being implemented for the environmental protection and enhancement of mining areas, development of the host and neighboring communities, land use improvement, exploration, and mining site rehabilitation, and final decommissioning. What qualifies a mining company to achieve a presidential award? It must have an environmental compliance certificate, has no unresolved notice of violation or suspension order, and was not issued by the DNR a cease and desist order during the coverage period. It must secure an approval for the following: Environmental Protection Enhancement Program, Final Mine Rehabilitation or Decommissioning Plan, Social Development and Management Program, Annual Safety and Health Program. It must get the nomination endorsement of the Regional Mines and Geosciences Bureau. On the process of evaluation, the Secretary of the DNR chairs the annual search and selection of the qualified mining companies. He is co-chaired by the President of the Chamber of Mines of the Philippines. Other members of the panel include the Secretary of Trade, the Secretary of Interior, the Secretary of Health, the President of the Philippine Mine Safety and Environmental Association, and the President of the Philippine Mineral Exploration Association. In time where the mining industry was put under intense scrutiny, the criteria imposed by the 8-member evaluation team is just a minimum requirement. Mining companies also need to pass through critical public perception and judgment. They must exceed what the law mandates. They must continue to police themselves. I find it no shame, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, to publicly announce my involvement in a mining company that shines through despite the tirades and malicious intents. SR Metals, 4-time highest pointer in the prestigious industry-wide award with 3 unbreakable years of being a presidential awardee, is not something we should downplay. The company is actually a Filipino pride to have vested companies owned and operated by foreign mining giants. SRMI is 100% Filipino-owned. These awards are also contrary to yet another claim of Jarius Bondok that SR Metals' patriarch and chairman peddled on his political influence to be recognized. Unless he wants to insist that he is the truth bearer and the secretary of the DNR, the president of the Chamber of Mines, other members of the selection committees, and the 2 presidents of our country, President Aquino and President Duterte, have lied on their judgments. For everyone's reference, please refer to the latest visuals of SR Metals mine site taken last October 2017 to show that it is indeed worthy of the trophies to which the President of the Philippines have affixed their signatures. This is the clear sea located right beside SR Metals operations. Wala po kayong makikita na namumulang tubig dagat dyan. These are some of the areas which the company had rehabilitated with a total number of 371 hectares and 287,000 of trees were already planted. As to the equipment they use, the company had invested in Euro 3 compliant trucks that emit less carbon emission at the same time efficient for the daily grind. For example, the articulated water truck that you are seeing now is worth US $650,000 or 32.5 million. Pandilig po. Nagpapatunay na hindi biro-biro ang pagmimina at hindi rin maliit ang puhunan upang pangalagaan ang kapaligiran. Even staunch environmentalists and former DNR Secretary Gina Lopez was impressed how SR Metals manages a mine site. Her visit last March was in time when she desired to close down all airing mines and tagged SR Metals as one of the very few model companies in the country. Describing SR Metals, she said in one of her Facebook posts, "I was there yesterday and was quite impressed. Their siltation ponds are up where they mine. So by the time the water reaches the sea, it's clean. The water is sparklingly clean. There is fish, and the laboratory tests my staff had taken validate the visuals." We should also not neglect the contributions of the mining companies in nation building and the multiplier effect which springs from employment to community empowerment. SR Metals alone provides employment to almost 1,500 Caraga locals, 60% of which from host communities, and provides 19 million pesos in monthly local salaries. The company had also won the hearts of the church, from Catholic to all Protestants around the mine site. To prove my point further, anti-mining advocate Alianza Tigil Mina has passed and endorsed SR Metals in an audit conducted by all sectors of the society in Caraga. I, for one, have monitored and witnessed how the company fared out through the years in terms of environmental protection and social compliance. Sa magkabila po ng bundok, ang aming minimina, ang tubig na dumadaloy mula sa minahan, papunta sa dagat ay dumadaan muna po sa isang swimming pool na ako mismo ay naliligo upang patunayan na ang tubig na nanggagaling mula sa bundok ay malinis. Sa kabila naman po ng bundok, dumadaloy po ang tubig patungo sa mga palayan. Meron naman pong fish pond. May mga isda, tilapia, na ako mismo po ay aking pinananghahalian. Going back to Mr. Jarius Bondok, I advise that you should move on from the 2010 and 2016 elections and shift focus to more pressing concerns that we Filipinos are worried about. You have the privilege to open the eyes of the society in search for the truth using your opinion page. For Edu Punay, as far as I understand, the right of reply is an opportunity for you to get your facts straight. We are always open for comments if you seek for it. This is a call to set aside partiality and utilize God-given talents in helping this country move forward through responsible journalism. We already have an idea who or what is behind these relentless attacks of Jarius Bondok and other agents of malicious media propaganda. We are still in the process of gathering stronger evidence to prove that this is nothing political nor environmental, but merely a product of business rivalry. Babalik po ako muli upang ihayag ito sa inyo mga kasama. Kaya po, abangan ang susunod na mga kabanata. Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from Party List Buhay, our Honorable Senior Deputy Minority Leader Jose Lito Atienza, for his interpellation.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Representative Jose Atienza, Buhay Party List, is recognized. If the distinguished representative
Yes,
from
of
Caloocan
course.
is amenable for
Yes, of course, we
interpretation.
are very indebted to...
Thank you,
Representative
Mr.
Atienza
Speaker.
is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise only to clarify certain matters wherein my name is related to the message of the gentleman from Caloocan. in defending SNR metals or mining, he indeed mentioned my name as the one who decided on his issue or their issue with the Basiana family. Di po totoo yun. Sapagkat nung dumating ako sa DNR, meron na pong papeles yung pinagtatalunan nila. Tama naman yung kanyang sinabi na meron ng mga desisyon na nagsasabing sila ang may karapatan sa minahan. I'd like him to deny that if that is not correct in my assumption. Meron na po kayong papeles noon at yun ay nasa record ng DNR na nung nagrereklamo yung pamilyang Basiana, yun po ang aming inilahad. Eh sila man nagmamayari according to the records. So we had to support the position of SNR. Tama po ba yun?
Tama po yun, Mr.
Mabuti malinaw yan.
Speaker.
Ayokong
Ang nabanggit ko po, kayo po ang gentleman, the distinguished representative of Buhay Party List was the one who signed the approval or our mineral production sharing agreement.
Correct.
But as far as the Basiana case is concerned, it was the panel of arbitrators of the MGB DNR who decided in our favor and was affirmed by the Court of Appeals in
Ano
the
po bang
Supreme
taon
Court.
yun?
Around 2006 po, Mr.
Ama, wala pa po ako sa DNR
Wala pa po
noon.
kayo sa DNR.
I had nothing to do with the deliberations, had nothing to do with the decision. They won the favor of the investigating panel.
Yes.
And we cannot overrule that when we take over an office. We have to respect that.
And it was elevated to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court decided on our favor.
Correct. Aminin ninyo, ang inyong lingkod ang nagpasera sa SNR mining thereafter. Sapagkat nakita ko, small mining permits ang hawak nyo. Pinaseran ko kayo dahil sabi ko, hindi pwede mag-operate ang large mining concern katulad ng SNR na chinek ko po, napakalaki. They had heavy equipment. They are well prepared for their operations. Of course, they were doing it correctly, but without any real large mining permit. The permits that they were using were small mining permits given by the local government. Kaya sabi ko, you have to close down. And did you close down when I said you closed down?
We complied.
Yes, they complied. At
And
doon po
we-
nag-umpisa ang
And
kanilang...
we rectify our shortcomings by paying a penalty that
Tama
was
po.
imposed by the DNR. And as I remember, during that time, that was the biggest penalty ever paid by a
Correct.
mining company.
So they were closed by my administration as the department secretary. And then they were forced to comply with every set of rules and provision of law to qualify for a large mining concern. And they were doing that already anyway. So, with the compliance of all the requirements, without any follow-up, you were not following up,
Yes.
your company was not following up, the DNR acted judiciously, granted them a large mining permit and an MPSA. That started them properly in their quest for business in mining. And I'd like to congratulate you. You succeeded from then on. Dahil hindi ko na kayo nabalitaan from then on.
Thank you.
Ngayon ayoko namang mabanggit yung pangalan ko na ako ang nagpasya doon sa claim ng mga Basiana. Yung po'y gusot nila na inayos po ng gobyerno. Wala po akong kinalaman doon. Hindi pa ho ako sekretaryo noon. Noong dumating ako, doon ko nakita yung mga depekto at inaksyonan po namin at inaksyonan nila yung hinihingi ng batas. So if they are now successful, you should thank the government for having allowed you to operate in spite of the fact that you had violations earlier. You mentioned that you paid the highest penalty even imposed by the Department of Environment under those conditions that I am recollecting. Malinaw na malinaw po sa isip ko yun sapagkat nag-iingat tayo pag tayo gumagamit ng kapangyarihan, anumang sangay ng pamahalaan ang ating kinabibilangan. So as far as I'm concerned, yun po ang official participation ni Secretary Atienza at the Department of Environment. And I had nothing to do with the company. I had nothing to do with the Basiana Group. I had nothing to do with their issue. They did it on their own And for whatever they are now successful with, they should continue without involving names like mine. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to inform our colleagues that during that time, mining companies are only paying 50,000 per violation. But the good secretary of DNR then imposed 50,000 per day penalty. So that's why we paid the highest penalty in the history of DNR during that time.
The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Edgar Erice of the 2nd District of Caloocan City and its interpellation to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Any objection? The chair is none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the lady from the party list Gabriela, Representative Arlene Brosas, be recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
Representative Arlene Brosas from Party List Gabriela is recognized to avail her privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mga kapwa ko kinatawan, education is the key to success. It is the ladder towards a bright future. This is the reason why, in the 1987 Constitution, under Article 2, Declaration of Principles and State Policies, Section 17 states that the state shall give priority to education, science and technology, arts, culture, and sports, to foster patriotism and nationalism, accelerate social progress, and promote total human liberation and development. The 1987 Constitution sees education and holistic human development as the gateway to intellectual, moral, economic development, as well as the cultivation of the struggle for freedom and justice. The same Constitution prescribes the protection and promotion of everyone's right to education. Article 14, Section 1 states that the state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. Ang konstitusyon na ito ay hindi lamang nagsusulong sa karapatan sa edukasyon. Ito din ay kumikilala sa mga kapatid nating katutubo. Article 2, Section 22 states that the state shall recognize and promote the rights of indigenous cultural communities within the framework of national unity and development. Bukod sa mga probisyon sa 1987 Constitution, may mga probisyon din sa international law na kumikilala at pumuprotekta sa karapatan ng mga katutubo. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that all human beings are equal in dignity and rights. Article 1. Everybody is entitled to the rights in the Declaration. Article 2. Without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Ang International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights naman ay gumuhit ng basic civil at political rights ng individual. Sa probisyon sa kolektibong karapatan, that covenant states that in those states in which ethnic, religious, or linguistic minorities exist, persons belonging to such minorities shall not be denied the right in community with the other members of their group to enjoy their own culture, to profess and practice their own religion, or to use their own language. The Convention on the Right of the Child contains regulations and suggestions relevant to the indigenous peoples. Article 29, on the non-discrimination of children, the right to education, including education on human rights, its own cultural identity, language, and values. Article 30 states that children of minorities or indigenous origin shall not be denied the right to their own culture, religion, or language. Napakaraming batas sa proteksyon at promosyon ng edukasyon at ng karapatan ng mga katutubo. Ngunit sa dinami-dami ng mga kasulatang ito, ganun din naman ang pag-ulan ng mga pandarahas sa ating mga katutubo at ang pagnakaw sa kanilang karapatan sa edukasyon at sariling pagpapasya. Ang mga batang lumad na bahagi ng pambansang minorya ay mulat sa kahalagahan ng edukasyon upang maprotektahan ang kanilang lupang ninuno, kultura at paniniwala sa gitna ng patuloy na pandarahas ng pasista, armadong puwersa ng gobyerno at ng mga sakim-sakita at tubo ng mga minahan at plantasyon. Noong Hulyo ay nagbakwit ang mga kabataang lumad sa Kamaynilaan sa sunod-sunod na pambobomba at militarisasyon sa kanilang komunidad. Ang pagpapalayas sa mga katutubo ay nakatago sa all-out war ng administrasyon sa New People's Army. Ngunit ang all-out war na ito ay laban sa mga sibilyan nasa komunidad. Lumala ang pandarahas noong ideklarang batas militar sa buong Mindanao. Kamakailan, nagkampo sa harap ng Central Office ng Department of Education ang mga batang lumad. Simple lang naman ang panawagan ng mga batang ito. Una, ang pagwakas sa militarisasyon, martial law at pagkakampo ng mga militar sa kanilang mga paaralan at komunidad. Pangalawa, ang pagharap sa kanila ni DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones para personal na maipaabot ang hinaing sa patuloy na pag-aantala at pagpapahirap sa mga paaralan na makuha ang kanilang permit. Malakas ang panawagan sa mga IP communities ng pagpapalaya sa mga pwersa ng militar. Kapag may militar, may dahas. Yan pong nakatatak sa mga utak ng mga katutubo at lalo na sa mga batang lumad. Matagal na ang panawagan na ito ng mga katutubo, lalo na ng mga lumad. Ngunit ang sagot ng gobyerno ay patuloy na pagdagdag sa pwersa ng armed forces. Bilang patunay, last November 23, at around 6 o'clock in the morning, a peasant leader, Vivencio Sahay of Kilusang Magbubukid ng Pilipinas, KMP Agusan Norte, was shot dead in his home in Cabadbaran. He is the 5th farmer killed in Caraga in 5 months. On that same day, 3 trucks filled with military troops arrived in KM6 Neptune. A checkpoint was then set up in KM6 Neptune in the morning of November 24, requiring all who passed to write their names in a logbook. Military troops were also seen going towards Lumad communities KM16, 16, and Hanayan yesterday, Hanayan, November 25. A drone was heard and seen flying over the communities. This is after Duterte's pronouncement of crackdown against progressive organizations recently and the bomb threat on Lumad schools 5 months ago. Noong November 26, 2017 at around 1 p.m., 12 Lumad communities in Barangay Jatagon, Lianga, and Barangay Buhisan, San Agustin, in Surigao del Sur, along with 706 students of 9 Lumad schools and 51 teachers of Alcadev and TRIFPSS are currently in evacuation due to military operations. Para sa panawagan ng kabataang lumad na personal na makaharap ang DepEd Secretary, ito ay sinagot ni Secretary Briones ng isang press con. Isang press con na patuloy na paghuhugas ng kamay ng departamento sa kasalukuyang pandarahas at mga abuso sa mga lumad at sa kanilang paaralan. Briones' complicity to human rights violations and lumad killings in Mindanao is proven by her inaction and silence amidst continuous attack on Lumad schools. Hindi pwedeng maghugas kamay ang Secretary of Education dahil ang kanyang departamento mismo ang nag-legitimize ng pag-ookupa ng mga militar sa DepEd Memo 221. Hindi pwedeng sabihin ng sekretary na galing sa militar ang kasulatan dahil ang DepEd mismo ang nag-circularize nito through the said DepEd Memo. It is very clear that the Department of Education fed the Lumad children and their future through the fascist AFP and the tyrannical rule of the Duterte administration. As the Secretary of Education, she failed to be sensitive to the plight of the Lumad children. It is her duty to condemn atrocities done to schools and learning institutions and to children, regardless of whether it has permit or not. Every children's right to education and protection thereof is not based on whether the school has a registration number provided by the department. It is an inherent right that the department must protect. Ang karapatan ng kabataan sa edukasyon ay hindi nagsisimula o nagtatapos sa papel o sa numero galing sa Department of Education. Hindi ba dapat na mas maging responsive ang DepEd sa kalagayan ng mga batang hindi nila naabutan ng serbisyo at volunteerismo na lamang ng iilang taong nakakasagot sa dapat ay obligasyon ng departamento? Hindi ba dapat si Secretary Briones ang mahiya sa mga Lumad students at sa mga volunteer teachers dahil ibang
With
tao
due
ang
respect to
pumupuno?
the distinguished lady from Gabriela Party List, the privilege hour has already expired unless otherwise the majority or any other member wish to extend in a proper motion the privilege hour.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the privilege hour be extended for another 30 minutes to grant 5 more representatives who wish to avail of the privilege hour.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The lady from Gabriela Party List, you may continue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hindi ba dapat si Secretary Briones ang mahiya sa mga Lumad students at sa mga volunteer teachers dahil ibang taong pumupuno sa kapabayaan ng DepEd at ng gobyernong ito? The issue should not be a question of the jurisdiction. It is a call for basic human decency and compassion to act against the evil done by state agents and the Duterte administration. Briones challenged the media on the said press con to look at the bigger picture. This is the bigger picture. Sa dinami-dami ng batas na nagsusulong sa karapatan ng bawat isa sa edukasyon at karapatan ng mga katutubo sa sariling pagpapasya, edukasyon at kultura, ay patuloy pa din ang pagpatay sa mga karapatang ito ng gobyerno at ng Estado. Patuloy ang pagkait sa edukasyon sa mga batang lumad at patuloy ang pagdedemonyo ng AFP sa mga komunidad nila. Kung pagbabasehan ang dami ng karapatan sa edukasyon at karapatan ng mga katutubo, may isang sobrang laking puwang at kapabayaan ng Estado sa pangangalaga sa kanila. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat din po sa pag-extend ng aking time, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Representative Arlene Rosas of Party List Gabriela to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Any objection? There is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
And Mr. Speaker, I now move that the lady from Party List Kabataan, the Honorable Representative Sarah Jane Ilago, be recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
The lady from Kabataan Party List, Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago, is recognized to avail her privilege.
Mr. Speaker, colleagues, good afternoon. Today, we mourn. Every day that passes, while we deliberate on laws and resolutions, in the middle of the pomp and seeming normalcy in our lives, another person is killed, or another person gets harassed or intimidated, or another house gets raided, or another person gets arrested for trumped-up charges. Mr. Speaker, on November 26, human rights worker and chairperson of Katungod Sinirangan Visayas Katarman Chapter, Sarji Makalan, was strangled by a military officer inside the camp of the 20th Infantry Battalion in Northern Samar. He, among other paralegals, went inside the camp of the military to look for the farmers who were abducted the day prior. Likewise, aid workers from Accord, an international non-government organization, were barred by the police and military forces from entering Barangay Jatagon, Lianga, Surigao del Sur to check on the status and situation of internally displaced persons. Lumad students, teachers, leaders, and communities were forced to evacuate after additional battalions of military arrived in the area. The NGO workers were denied access despite thorough explanation of the work they do. Even worse, state forces from the 75th Infantry Battalion have been preventing food aid from reaching at least 1,000 indigenous peoples still seeking refuge in the evacuation camp. On November 28, a fact-finding mission composed of 30 people was attacked by suspected state forces while making their way to Barangay Catalina in Negros Oriental to investigate human rights violations committed by the military. Two members, Eliza Badayos of Karapatan Central Visayas and Eleuterio Moises of the local peasant organization Mantapi Ebuan Farmers Association, died. One member of the youth sector, CJ Matarlo, a coordinator of Kabataan Party List Cebu, was shot in the shoulder and is now in stable condition, Mr. Speaker. On November 30, Karapatan Southern Mindanao region sounded the alarm on the recent escalation of black propaganda in the region. Pictures of known leaders of progressive organizations tagged as wanted were posted along the streets in Davao City. Trumped-up cases were filed against these leaders after they facilitated the evacuation of Lumads in militarized areas. But all were already dismissed in July 2016. That's more than a year ago, Mr. Speaker. This is clearly a harassment tactic aimed at endangering their lives. Nararapat lamang at ating mandato na kundinahin ang mga ataking ito sa mismong tagapagtanggol ng ating karapatang pantao. Kabataan Party List condemns in the highest and strongest terms these wanton moves of attacking human rights workers and activists. Armed with nothing but their convictions and principles, human rights defenders, progressives, activists are being attacked daily. This is already a red flag of the president's increasing tendency to willingly shed blood to prolong his power and retaliate against his dwindling popularity. More than anything, it is showing of what kind of revolutionary government he intends to install. A government built on dead bodies of innocent people, human rights defenders. Mr. Speaker, fact-finding missions are conducted to investigate human rights violations, especially those committed by state agents. An attack on these missions is a direct attack against victims of these violations, who need to have their voices heard and their situations exposed. What do they have to hide, and what are they so scared of to have human rights defenders in these areas? Their actions, elicited by fear of being publicly exposed, makes the answer obvious. Since the termination of peace talks and the encouragement of US President Donald Trump of Duterte's counterinsurgency programs, attacks against progressives and human rights defenders has increased and intensified. This, we present, is the kind of revolutionary government that the president intends to set up. How many more blood will be spilled for this? Mr. Speaker, today we mourn. We are in unspeakable grief. But at the same time, we consolidate and broaden our ranks. We heighten our vigilance, and we strengthen our unities to resist a fascist rule. Mr. Speaker, we vow that for every drop of blood spilled, 100 other 100 others grow. For every drop of blood spilled, Mr. Speaker, 100 others grow stronger and inspired to resist, to rise, and to fight against a savage, corrupt, and fascist rule. Together, we must realize that greed for power is the source of fascism, and fascism only breeds resistance. This is why fascists always tremble at the face of dissent. Fear, silence, and passivity are their trophies, a symbol of their success in sowing terror among the people. This is why their downfall has always been successfully brought out by a strong and principled mass movement. At the outset, this is what the President proudly proclaims to be, a fascist. His violent reactions and threats are only manifestations of his greed for power and public acceptance, a fascist response to losing his political machinery and public approval. The political and social climate may be challenging, but this has been the same for centuries, Mr. Speaker. The same period that the people have fought against oppression and exploitation. From the Spaniards to Americans to Japanese, who occupied our homeland, and now to leaders who stand as puppets of imperialist powers. The times may be challenging, but it has never been so right for us to unite and to struggle against systemically ingrained oppression, violence, and tyranny. Let us put an end to the culture of impunity. Let us put an end to tyranny. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker, at mabuhay ang mga kabataan, ang mamamayan na makabayan at patuloy na lumalaban.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Representative Sarah Jane Ilago of Party List Kabataan to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
The speech of the Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
At this point, Mr. Speaker, I now move that the gentleman from Party List Akbayan, the Honorable Representative Tom S. Villarin, to be recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
Any objection? There being none, the Honorable Villarin is recognized for his privileged speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, since taking over the reins of government, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte has clamored to be given emergency powers to deal with the transportation crisis in Metro Manila. But emergency powers may not be the solution to such crisis. It sometimes takes political will to go after the powers that be that have put into gridlock our transport sector. In other words, there is elite capture of our vital national assets like the transportation sector. Seaports are vital cogs in national and regional development. It is certainly a major infrastructure that links the country to the rest of the world in terms of trade and the global market. Ports are essential to such function given that our country is made up of diverse island regions in terms of commodity production. One of the biggest contributors to the rising GDP is the agriculture sector, located mostly in Mindanao, a conflict and poverty-stricken region. In order for us to be competitive, we have to modernize our seaports. Mr. Speaker, one of the major ports in the country is the government-owned Sa Port in Davao City. I sense that there is elite capture of port operations that should be looked into by government in one of the country's vital seaport. Sa Port, strategically located as a premier hub in southeastern Mindanao, where the bulk of our agricultural exports, like banana, comes from, its delayed modernization has incurred losses in terms of foregone revenues. Based on a study by the Ateneo de Davao Center for Business Research and Extension, in 2015 alone, approximately 317 million in wharfage fees, port dues, and other fees related to port operations were lost. And it is estimated that this loss will balloon to an accumulated 1.84 billion in the next 5 years. In an information memorandum by the Development Bank of the Philippines and the International Finance Corporation submitted to the previous DOTC and the Philippine Ports Authority, the Davao Sa Port is the most important container terminal in Mindanao. The National Economic Development Authority has pushed for its immediate modernization since way back in 2007. Then why is the PPA and the national government dragging its foot for its modernization? Mr. Speaker, instead of pushing for its modernization, government has given licenses to operate to 2 privately owned ports in nearby Sa Wharf. First is the Davao International Container Terminal owned by Anflocor, and the Iho International Container Terminal Services of business tycoon Ricky Rason. In this kind of arrangement, the PPA can only collect 50% of the wharfage fee when the port is used. When the port used is a private port. Port use can only be collected from foreign vessels if they are docked at a government-owned port. Dockage fees from domestic and foreign vessels can only be charged if they berth at government-owned ports. Container handling, while charged to private entities, government can also collect shares of 20% for foreign flag vessels and 10% from domestic vessels if, again, docked in government ports. Mr. Speaker, this would not have happened if PPA exhausted all possible options and not acted with undue haste in granting these private ports license to operate as a commercial port. Records show that as early as 2010, the Sa port has breached the 500,000 20-footer equivalent units or TEUs, meaning container vans, per year, and the projections show that such volume will double in the coming years. Instead of a strategic solution to modernize the Davao City Sa port, the PPA opted to grant commercial licenses to these private ports valid for 4 years and renewable thereafter, with the conditionality that Sa port still cannot accommodate increased volume. Now, according to the Ateneo de Davao study, there are viable and immediately available options for the Sa port modernization. Even the PPA has admitted that this can be done and even gave an option for a PPP arrangement for modernizing the Sa port. But the initial bid package was projected at 19 billion for a PPP, very much higher than the actual 5 billion cost if the PPA undertakes the rehabilitation. Apart from the cost and other parameters, PPA said there were issues in terms of which agency would implement the project, the concession fee, tariff increases, collection and sharing of port charges, viability and gap funding, as well as the presence of competing ports in the area, meaning that the two existing private ports could suffice. Again, this begs the question, why is government, again, allowing the operations of vital seaports to private entities if government itself can undertake such activity? Mr. Speaker, the Ateneo de Davao study showed that there are options readily available to PPA. In the Sasa port, there is available space of at least 8 hectares just across the existing port, enough for at least 1.3 million TEUs of cargo handling. There is likewise the availability of a custom-banded container yard and a 250 million X-ray machine lying idle in that part of Sasa port. While this machine is subject to a court case as well as that of a contract between a private businessman and the BOC, that businessman is willing to negotiate, and this has been discussed with the BOC. In fact, the businessman has won his case against the BOC in our courts. Now, the issue of traffic congestion in the port can be addressed by the opening up of a new road that can be expropriated by the PPA or even by the local government unit. Again, what is troubling in this situation? That this elite capture of a vital economic infrastructure supposedly for the whole of Mindanao is done right inside Davao City. In this classic example, we don't need emergency powers for the Davao Sasa port to operate. It needs just common sense and a dose of political will to go against the powers that be. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the speech of our Honorable Representative Ton S. Villarin of Party List Akbayan be referred to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? There being none, the speech of the Honorable Villarin is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the gentleman from Party List Bayan Muna, the Honorable Representative Carlos Isagani Zarate, be recognized for his privileged speech.
Is there any objection? There being none, the gentleman from Bayan Muna, the Honorable Carlos Zarate, is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker. Magandang hapon ho sa ating lahat. Ginoong Speaker, may nakaambang tiraniya sa ating bansa. Katunayan, baka nga hindi na lamang ito nakaamba. Nitong nakaraang Oktubre, ang grupong karapatan ay nakapagtala na ng 104 na pampulitikang pamamaslang, mga pagpatay sa mga lider masa at aktivista sa ilalim ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Liban pa rito, Mr. Speaker, 4 na masaker, 20 pagkakataon ng sapilitang paglikas ng mga katutubong Lumad at 17 pamomomba o aerial bombardment rin ang kanilang naitala. Lahat ng mga ito ay naganap sa lampas 1 taon pa lamang ng panunungkulan ng Administrasyong Duterte. Ang mga matindi, malubha at malalang mga paglabag ng karapatang pangtao na ito ay dagdag sa lagim na dulot ng mga pagpaslang sa ngalan ng gyera laban sa droga. Sa pinakamalaking tala o estima, 13,000 tao na ang napaslang sa ngalan ng gyerang ito. Ginoong Speaker, 13,000 mga anak, mga magulang, mga kapatid, pinapula nila ng kanilang mga dugo ang mga lansangan at madidilim na iskinita sa ating bansa. Ginoong Speaker at mga kapwa kong mambabatas, kung hindi pa tayo nahimok na kumilos sa pagdanak ng dugong ito, sa walang awang pagpatay na ito ng ating mga kababayan, sa tila pagkawala ng pagkatao ng lahat ng mga masipat na mga armas na mga ahente ng pamahalaan na tinuring silang hayop na pinapangangaso, ay tunay na ngang mabubuwal ang pundasyon ng ating pagtalima at pagrespeto sa mga karapatang pangtao. Sa ika-10 ng Disyembre ay gugunitain na naman natin muli ang pandaigdigang araw ng karapatang pangtao. Hindi na siguro kagulat-gulat na bubuhos ang mamamayan sa kalsada upang kondinahin ang malalang paglabag sa karapatan ng ating mga mamamayan. Ngunit hindi lamang pagkondina ang iminamarcha ng ating mga mamamayan at ng mga aktivista at ng mga tagapagdaguyod ng karapatang pangtao, Mr. Speaker. Sila ay magmamarcha dahil sila mismo sa ngayon ay target na rin ng paglabag sa karapatang pangtao. Noong inanonsyo ni Pangulong Duterte na magkakaroon, Ginoong Speaker, ng crackdown sa mga miyembro ng mga legal na organisasyon, isa itong tila hudyat upang direktang targetin na rin ang mga mamamayang nagtatanggol sa karapatang pantao. At sino-sino ang magiging biktima nito, Ginoong Speaker? Tiyak tayong nakatudla ito sa ating mga magsasaka at tagapagtaguyod sa karapatan ng lupa ng mga nagbubungkal nito. Ito ay nakatudla sa mga manggagawa at mga leader union na lumalaban para sa nakabubuhay na sahod. Ito ay nakatudla sa mga marilitang lungsod na iginiit ang karapatan sa panirahan at serbisyong panlipunan. Nakatudla ito sa mga mamamayang Moro at Katutubo na ipinaglalaban ang kanilang karapatan sa lupang ninuno at sariling pagpapasya. Nakatudla ito sa mga dumidepensa sa karapatan ng mga kababaihan, sa karapatan ng mga bata, sa karapatan para sa edukasyon ng mga kabataan, at karapatan ng mamamayan para sa sapat na serbisyong panlipunan. Sila, Ginoong Speaker, ang mga posibleng pangunahing hahambalusin at tatamaan ng sinasabing crackdown na ito ni Pangulong Duterte. Nito lamang ika-26 ng Nobyembre, Ginoong Speaker, matapos ang anonsyong crackdown at deklarasyong ihinto na ang usapang pangkapayapaan sa pagitan ng pamahalaan ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas at ng National Democratic Front of the Philippines, mahigit 1,000 lumad mula sa 14 na pamayanan sa Jatagon at Lianga, Surigao del Sur ang nagsilikas mula sa kanilang mga tahanan dahil sa walang tigil na counter-insurgency operations sa kanilang pamayanan. Mga kapwa mamabatas, ang pagbakwit mula sa mga malalayong komunidad ng mga lumad ay isang nakakahilakbot na karanasan. Maaari nating ilarawan sa ating mga isip ang mga daan-daang ina na karay-karay ang kanilang mga anak. Libong mga katutubong dala lamang ang kanilang mga iilang damit, mga alagang hayop na hindi maiiwan, ang mga buntis, matatanda at mga bata na naglakad sa napakahabang pababa ng mga kabundukan, patawid ng mga rumaragasang ilog at malalim na putik. Isa itong larawan kung gaano nakalala ang krisis sa karapatang pantao sa Pilipinas. Malala pa, Ginoong Speaker, nito mga nakaraang araw, isang food blockade ang iniulat na isinasagawa ng militar sa mga bakwit sa Surigao del Sur. Ayaw papasukin sa mga checkpoints ang mga rasyong pagkain patungo sa mga evacuation centers na dala ng mga humanitarian groups at kahit na ng local government units. Pero ang pagbabawal na pumasok sa evacuation centers ay hindi lamang sa mga humanitarian groups, pati na rin ang mga lokal na taga-Lianga at taga-Jatagon, Surigao del Sur ay pinagbabawalan na rin, Ginoong Speaker, na pumasok sa kanilang komunidad. Halimbawa, noong November 30, ang isang grade 3 student ng Alcadeb na nagkasakit at dinala sa Kabayanan para ito ay gamutin. Nung bumalik na sila sa evacuation center, ay hindi na rin sila pinayagan ng militar. Nung nagbalak silang bumalik nung December 2, sila rin ay hinarang at hindi pinayagan ng mga militar. Sa isang kaso naman, nung December 1, isang estudyante rin na sinamahan ang kanyang may sakit na kaibigan para magpagabot sa kabayanan. Nung sila ay bumalik sa kanilang tirahan doon sa Jatagon, at sila ay hinarang din ng militar. May isang insidente rin na isang guro at ang kanyang co-teacher na nakatira din doon sa komunidad malapit sa evacuation center ay hinarang din ng militar na bumalik dahil lamang sila ay mga guro daw ng Al-Qaeda. Nakakagalit ang ganitong balita, Ginoong Speaker, at mariin natin itong kinukundina. Malakas na nananawagan tayo ngayon sa militar na itigil na ang food blockade sa mga pamayanan ng Lumad sa Surigao del Sur. Ginoong Speaker, tila pinapalakas na pananagasa sa karapatang pantao ang dinulot ng peace talks, ng pagsara ng peace talks at sa utos na ipaigtingin ang atake ng mga rebelding grupo. Ano ang magiging kahahantungan ng ating bayan? Ginoong Speaker, mga kapwa ko mambabatas, tayo ay nahaharap ngayon sa hamon ng ating panahon. Naway alalahanin tayo ng kasaysayan na hindi naging kimi sa panahon na ang mamamayan ay pinagpapaslang. Sa panahon ng makarapatan ng pangtao ng ating mamamayan ay nilalabag. Mailapat sana sa mga libro ng kasaysayan na noong ang karapatan ng ating mga mamamayan ay inaatake, tayo bilang mga mambabatas ay matapang at prinsipyadong tumindig. Sana ay taas noo nating masasabi sa ating mga sunod na salinlahi, sunod na henerasyon, na ginamit natin ang ating pagiging mambabatas para depensahan ang mamamayang saklot sa pasismo at tiraniya. Ginoong Speaker, kundinahin natin ang paglabag sa karapatang pantao. Itigil ang mga madugong gerang nilulunsad ng pamahalaan laban sa ating mga mamamayan. Ituloy ang usapang pangkapayapaan. Ngunit hindi laging api ang sambayanan. Bilang panghuli, Ginoong Speaker, payagan niyo akong basahin ang mga taludtod na ito na binanggit ni Amado V. Hernandez. At siya ay nagsabi noon, "May araw ding ang luha mo'y masasaid, matutuyo. May araw ding di na luha sa mata mong namumugto. Ang dadaloy, kundi apoy, at apoy na kulay dugo. Samantalang ang dugo mo ay asirong kumukulo. Sisigaw kang buong giting sa liyab ng libong Sulu. At ang lumang talikalay, lalagatin mo ng punglo." Magandang hapon po sa atin, Ginoong Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Representative Carlos Isagani Zarate of Party List Bayan Muna to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? There being none, the speech of the Honorable Zarate is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there's one more to avail of the privilege hour. I would again like to request or move that the privilege hour be extended for another 10 minutes.
Is there any objection? There being none, the privilege hour is extended for another 10 minutes. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the gentleman from Kabayan Party List, the Honorable Representative Ron P. Salo, be recognized for his privileged speech.
Is there any objection? There being none, the gentleman from Kabayan, the Honorable Ron Salo, is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, and fellow Filipinos, I rise today on a matter of personal and collective privilege to address an issue concerning not only this representation, but also hundreds of thousands of our public school teachers. Personal because it concerns teachers personally known to me, as well as supporters of Kabayan Party List. Collective in the sense that these teachers are our second parents. Without them, none of us, I suppose, would be here. None of us would have become what we are today. none of us would have been in a position to effect real and meaningful change in our country's policies. Mr. Speaker, according to the Department of Education, the current gross salary of our public school teachers is around 19,000 per month. However, they take home far less from the gross amount due to unfortunate and unforeseen financial troubles. Our teachers are saddled by extensive deductions for contributions and obligations as they are forced to fall victim and borrow money from lenders that entrap them in a vicious cycle of indebtedness. According to DepEd data, the current total debt of public school teachers from legitimate private lending institutions have ballooned to unprecedented levels amounting to 178 billion pesos, aside from the already existing 123 billion pesos worth of loans owned to GSIS. This amounts to 301 billion worth of loans, equivalent to 55% of the 2018 DepEd proposed budget of 549 billion pesos. In fact, it came to the attention of this representation that around 23,000 teacher retirees this year failed to receive their pensions due to unpaid debts. DepEd Order Number 38, dated July 31, 2017, allowed GSIS and Pag-ibig Fund loans to be deducted from teacher salaries without a cap, leading some to have a meager take-home pay below 4,000 pesos. However, the DepEd order was questioned by this representation as well as by some teacher groups, and this led to the issuance of DepEd Order Number 55 dated October 26, 2017. The new DepEd order will prioritize deductions from GSIS and Pag-ibig Fund loans without affecting teachers' mandated net take-home pay. With accrued penalties of your loans from GSIS and an imposed deduction cap, teachers will have to pay their loans and penalties in a longer period. DepEd Order Number 55 implements the minimum take-home pay of 4,000 pesos, consistent with Section 47 of the General Appropriations Act of 2017. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the basic education system is already confronted with a myriad of problems. Yes, our teachers have had their fair shares in contributing to the current dilemma that they are experiencing. However, the onus should not be placed entirely on them. Although the 19,000 pesos current gross salary per month of the teachers has a significant increase compared to the previous years, it was a tad too late for many of them because they have already incurred loans and debts prior to the increase precisely because of their low salaries. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, we need to immediately take affirmative steps in order to halt the increasing burden being experienced by our public school teachers. As the people's representatives, it is within our power to intervene and promote the best interests of the people whose welfare are at stake. As such, I respectfully call in this August chamber to strongly urge the government service insurance system in immediately waiving incurred penalties of public school teachers and the payment of their loans. Certainly, the waived penalties may be minuscule in amounts, but this will certainly hasten the payment by our public school teachers of their loans and will go a long way in alleviating the financial burden that they are currently facing. Mr. Speaker, I believe that education is our way out of poverty. Education is our way out of ignorance. Education is our way toward stability, self-sufficiency, and true empowerment. Education is the key to the betterment of our society. We may liken education as our nation's fertilizer. It is the fertilizer that is needed for our nation's development to take root and grow. But without the nurturing hand applying the fertilizer, the soil remains barren, dry, and unproductive. Thus, it is essential that as policymakers, we let our teachers focus on their job of educating our youth and worry less about their financial situation. And until the government is able to provide the adequate and necessary resources in order to sufficiently cover all the needs of the education sector, all this remains an optimistic vision. A take-home pay of 4,000 pesos is unjust, particularly at this day and age and with the continuing increase in the cost of living in the country. This amount may not even be sufficient to cover your transportation cost in going to and from your school. As fellow human beings, our teachers still need to live, eat, dress, and send your children to school. It is incomprehensible how one can live with meager amount of 4,000 pesos a month. Certainly, It is unjust for us to allow our teachers to suffer this fate. We must ensure that these teachers are able to provide for themselves and their families with sufficient take-home salaries. We cannot allow our public school teachers to suffer this injustice. Thus, this representation is elated to note that in the current proposed 2018 General Appropriations Act, this amount is increased to 6,000 pesos. But still, 6,000 is still very much insufficient for any family to be able to live decently. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, it was said by our national hero Jose Rizal that the youth is the hope of our country. Kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. These teachers are responsible for the molding of our youth, our country's future. We must not ignore the pleas of the molders of our nation's future. Kung ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan, ang ating mga guro ang pag-asa ng mga kabataan. Mr. Speaker, my dearest colleagues, in this regard, I am calling all the members of the House of Representatives to strongly urge the government service insurance systems to first waive immediately incurred penalties of public school teachers in the payment of their loans, and implement debt forgiveness or condonation for newly retired and retiring public school teachers from 2017 to 2022, including teachers who are deceased before their scheduled retirement, so that these teachers and their families will benefit from the value of the retiring teachers' maturing GSIS policy. And further, I respectfully appeal to this august chamber to strongly urge DepEd, the Department of Finance, and government financial institutions to immediately conduct nationwide financial literacy and enabling and training to empower public school teachers to manage their personal finances better and get them out of the path to financial ruin. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, along with this speech is a resolution which I shall be filing to ensure that this call will be immediately realized. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you and a pleasant afternoon to all.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Representative Ron P. Salo of Kabayan Party List to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Is there any objection? There being none, the speech of the Honorable Salo is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no more member who wishes to avail of the privilege hour, I move that we terminate the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? There being none, the privilege hour is terminated. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we adjourn, I move that the copies of the bills passed today on third reading be immediately transmitted to the Senate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no more matters for the day, I move that we adjourn session until tomorrow, December 5, Tuesday, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So
Is there
move,
any
Mr. Speaker.
objection? Session is hereby adjourned until tomorrow, December 5 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.